She slapped me in front of 200 guests, right there between the champagne tower and the wedding cake, because I told her no. No, she wasn't getting my house. Not now. Not ever. The room went silent, but not one person stepped in. Not even my son. I tasted blood, kept my balance, and looked her straight in the eyes while she waited for me to break, to apologize, to hand over the deed like I was supposed to. But in that moment, standing under those white flowers she paid for with my money, I realized something cold and simple. I wasn't the one who should be ashamed. My name is Walter Hayes. I'm 74 years old, a widower, a retired mechanic from Columbus, Ohio. And that house she wanted was the only thing in this world I still had that felt like mine. I bought it with my hands and my back over 42 years. Same cracked driveway, same maple tree out front, same kitchen where my late wife Joanne used to hum while she made Sunday roast. That house held my life in it. My son Brian knew that. So did his bride, Melissa. The trouble didn't start at the wedding. It started 8 months earlier, the first time Melissa came over with that bright smile and a folder full of plans. She talked about family legacy, investment, keeping things in trusted hands. She said young couples had it hard now, and Brian sat there nodding like a man too tired to think for himself. Then she asked if I'd ever considered signing the house over early, to avoid probate later. She said it's sweet as pie, but I heard the hunger underneath it. I laughed the first time. Thought it was nerves. Thought maybe she didn't understand what she was asking. Then Brian came by alone 2 weeks later and asked the same thing, only quieter. That's when I knew it was real. After Joanne died, I made mistakes. I helped too much, paid Brian's credit cards twice, covered his truck note when he fell behind, wrote checks for wedding deposits, flowers, catering, even that ridiculous string quartet Melissa insisted on. Every time, they called it temporary. Every time, they acted like gratitude was beneath them. 3 nights before the wedding, I heard them in my own kitchen. They thought I was asleep upstairs. Melissa said, "Once the title's done, we can sell and move to Charlotte by spring." Brian didn't answer right away. Then he said, "Just keep him calm until after Saturday." I stood there in the dark at the top of the stairs with my hand on the banister, and something inside me turned to stone. So when she asked again at the reception, smiling with her hand out like I was there to deliver one last gift, I said no. And that was when my son finally opened his mouth. He didn't defend me. That's what I remember most clearly. Not the sting on my cheek, not the silence in the room, but the way Brian just stood there. His mouth opened like he might say something decent, something human, and then he closed it again. Melissa let out a short, sharp laugh like she'd just proved a point. "See?" she said, loud enough for half the room to hear. "This is what I've been dealing with. Control, guilt, manipulation." I could feel eyes on me from every direction. People I'd never met. Her side of the family, mostly. Well-dressed strangers watching me like I was some kind of problem they'd just uncovered. I wiped the corner of my mouth with my thumb, saw the smear of red, and slipped my hand into my pocket so no one else would notice. "Say something," Melissa pushed, turning toward Brian. "Tell him he's being unreasonable." Brian shifted his weight. Wouldn't look at me. "Dad, maybe we should have talked about this before today." Before today. That's what he had to offer me. I nodded slowly. "We did talk, son. You just didn't like the answer." Melissa's smile vanished. The sweetness dropped clean off her face. "You promised to help us." "I already did," I said. "More than you know." That's when she stepped closer, lowering her voice just enough to make it feel personal. "You're going to regret embarrassing us like this." I leaned in just a little myself. "No. I think that part's already done." For a second, I thought she might hit me again. Her hand twitched like she wanted to, but instead, she turned away sharply, grabbed Brian's arm, and dragged him toward the head table like I was something she'd finished dealing with. The music started back up a minute later. Slow at first, awkward, like the band wasn't sure if they should even keep playing. Conversations picked up in low murmurs. A few people glanced my way, then quickly looked down at their drinks. Not one person came over. I stood there another moment, under those white flowers and rented lights, feeling older than I ever had in my life. And then I walked out. No one stopped me, not even my son. Outside, the evening air hit me cool and quiet. I could still hear the muffled music behind those big glass doors, like a party happening in a different world. I made it halfway to my truck before my hands started shaking. I sat there in the driver's seat for a long time without turning the key, just breathing, just staring at the steering wheel Joanne used to rest her hand on during long drives. Then my phone buzzed. Brian. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answered. "What?" I said. His voice came quick, tight. "Dad, what the hell was that?" I almost laughed. Almost. "What was that?" I repeated. "You stood there while your wife hit me, and that's your question?" There was a pause, long enough to tell me everything I needed to know. Then he said something I don't think I'll ever forget. "You forced her into that." And right then, sitting alone in that parking lot, I realized this wasn't about a house anymore. It hadn't been for a long time. And what I did next, well, that's the part nobody at that wedding saw coming. I didn't go home that night. I drove. No music, no destination, just the hum of the engine and the road stretching out in front of me like something I hadn't paid attention to in years. I ended up parked outside a diner off Route 23, the kind Joanne and I used to stop at after late shifts. Same flickering sign, same smell of burnt coffee and fried eggs. I sat there until the waitress came out and knocked on my window. "You okay, sir?" she asked. I nodded, though I wasn't sure that was true. "Yeah, just needed a minute." Inside, I took a booth by the window, ordered coffee I didn't drink. My hands had stopped shaking by then, but something else had settled in. Something quieter, colder, clarity. For years I told myself Brian was just going through phases, that he'd come back around, that the distance, the short calls, the way everything between us started to feel like a transaction, it was temporary. But sitting there that night, replaying his words, "You forced her into that," I saw it plain. He didn't just fail me. He agreed with her. I pulled out my wallet and looked at the old photo I kept tucked behind my license. Brian, at 10 years old, missing his front tooth, holding up a fish we caught at Lake Erie. He used to look at me like I hung the moon. I set the wallet down and pushed it away. Around midnight, I made a call. Not to Brian, not to anyone who'd been at that wedding. I called Harold Klein, my attorney for the past 15 years. Good man, quiet, didn't waste words. He picked up on the third ring. "Walter, everything all right?" "No," I said, "but it's about to be." There was a pause, then the sound of him sitting up straighter on the other end. "What do you need?" "I want to make some changes," I told him. "Everything we set up before, the will, the transfer plans, all of it. I want it rewritten." "All right," he said carefully. "That's not a small request." "You sure you want to do this tonight?" "I should have done it years ago." Another pause. Then, "Come by first thing in the morning. We'll go through it properly." "I'll be there." I hung up and finally took a sip of the coffee. It had gone cold. By the time I stepped outside again, the sky was starting to lighten just a little at the edges. I didn't feel angry anymore. That surprised me. I thought I would, but anger burns hot and fast. This felt different. This felt like something ending, and something else beginning. When I got home, the house was exactly how I left it. Quiet, still, honest. I walked through each room slowly, touching the back of a chair, the edge of the counter, the frame of Joanne's photograph. "This stays," I said out loud, though no one was there to hear it. Around 9, my phone started ringing again. Brian, then Melissa, then Brian again. I didn't answer. Instead, I grabbed my coat, my keys, and the folder I hadn't opened in years. The one with every record of every check, every transfer, every temporary favor I'd ever given them. By the time I walked into Harold's office, I wasn't second-guessing anything. He looked up when I came in, studied my face for a long moment, then nodded toward the chair across from him. "All right," he said. "Start from the beginning." So I did. I told him everything. The money, the house, the wedding, the slap. When I finished, the room went quiet. Harold leaned back, folded his hands, and said, "Walter, if you go through with what I think you're about to do, there's no walking it back." I met his eyes. "I'm not planning to." He nodded once. "Then let's make it official." What he put in front of me that morning, the papers, the changes, the one decision I added at the very end, that was the part that turned a family argument into something a whole lot bigger. Harold didn't rush me. That's one thing I respected about him. He treated decisions like this the way they deserved to be treated. Not emotional, not reactive, just clear. He spread the documents across his desk one at a time, explaining each change in plain terms. The will, the property title, the financial accounts. Every line that once had Brian's name attached to it. Every assumption I'd made about leaving something behind for my son. Gone. Replaced. "You understand?" Harold said quietly, tapping the edge of the final page. "Once this is signed, your son has no legal claim to the house. None." "I understand. And the rest of it, the accounts, the investments, you're redirecting all of that as well." "Yes." He studied me for a moment, not questioning, just making sure. "Then the last section," he said, sliding one more document forward. "This is the part I want you to read twice." I picked it up. It wasn't long, just a single page, but it carried more weight than anything else on that desk. My eyes moved slowly over the words, taking in every line, every clause, every condition. When I finished, I didn't hesitate. "Add one more thing," I said. Harold raised an eyebrow. "Go on. If they contest anything, the will, the property, any of it, I want it written that they get nothing, not a dollar, not even personal items." He didn't react right away, just nodded once and made the note. "That's called a no contest clause," he said. "It's enforceable, and it's effective." Good. An hour later, it was done. Signed, witnessed, sealed. I walked out of that office lighter than I had any right to feel, but there was something else under it. Not relief, finality. By the time I got back to my truck, my phone had 23 missed calls. Brian, Melissa, a couple numbers I didn't recognize. I turned the phone off, let them sit in it for a while. The silence, the not knowing. I'd lived in that space long enough. When I got home, there was a car parked in my driveway. Brian's truck. I shut my engine off and just sat there for a second, watching him pace near the front porch. He looked different. Not the boy from that photo in my wallet. Not even the man from the wedding. He looked desperate. The moment I stepped out, he came straight toward me. "Dad," he said, breath tight. "Why aren't you answering your phone?" I closed the truck door slowly. Didn't feel like it. He ran a hand through his hair. "We need to talk." "We already did." "No," he snapped. "You embarrassed Melissa in front of everyone. You walked out, and now you're ignoring me like I don't matter." I let that sit between us for a second. "Funny," I said. "That's about how I felt last night." His jaw tightened. "Can we not do this out here? Let's go inside." I looked past him at the house, my house, and then back at him. "No," I said calmly. "We'll do it right here." He exhaled hard, frustrated, but stayed. "Fine, then tell me what's going on." "Melissa's upset. Her parents are furious. People are calling asking what happened." I said no, I interrupted. "That's what happened." "That's it?" he shot back. "After everything we've talked about?" "Yes, that's it." He stared at me like he was trying to figure out who I was. You're really willing to throw all this away? Over a house? I shook my head slowly. No, Brian. I'm finally refusing to. That hit him. I could see it. But instead of understanding, something else took over. Anger. You're being selfish, he said. You don't even need that place anymore. It's too big for you. You're just sitting on it while we're trying to build something. I stepped a little closer. You're not building anything, I said quietly. You're planning to sell it. His eyes flickered, just for a second. But it was enough. Who told you that? He demanded. I heard you, I said. In my kitchen 3 nights ago. That stopped him cold. For a moment, neither of us said anything. The air between us felt heavy, like something had finally been dragged into the light. Then his expression changed. Not guilt, calculation. So what if we were? He said, voice lower now. It's a smart move. We could invest, move somewhere better. With my house? I said. With family assets, he corrected quickly. I let out a slow breath. There it is. He took a step forward. Dad, listen. You're not thinking long term. This benefits all of us. I looked him straight in the eye. No, I said. It benefits you. His face hardened. You're making a mistake. I nodded once. I already fixed it this morning. He frowned. What does that mean? And that was the moment I decided to tell him. Not everything. Not yet. Just enough. It means, I said, that house you're counting on. I paused, just long enough to feel the weight of it settle. Is no longer yours to expect. Brian blinked at me like he hadn't heard it right. What are you talking about? He said. I didn't raise my voice, didn't step closer. I just stood there in the driveway, the same place I'd taught him how to ride a bike, the same place he used to fall and look back at me like I could fix anything. I went to see Harold this morning, I said. Everything's been changed. The house, the will, all of it. His face drained, just a little. Not shock, not yet. More like something shifting under his feet. You're serious? He asked. I've never been more serious in my life. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then he let out a short laugh. The kind people use when they think something can still be undone. Okay, he said. Fine, you're upset. I get that. We all said things last night, things got out of hand. But you don't have to go this far. I already did. No, he said, shaking his head. No, you can't just erase me like that. I'm your son. I nodded slowly. You are. Then act like it, he snapped. That word hung there. Act. Like it was something you could switch on when it was convenient. I did, I said quietly. For a long time. His jaw tightened again. So what? This is punishment? Because Melissa lost her temper. This isn't about one moment, I said. That slap just made it clear. Clear what? That I don't matter to you unless I'm giving you something. That landed harder than anything else I'd said. I saw it in his eyes. Not understanding, but recognition. He looked away first. That's not true, he muttered. Then why didn't you stop her? I asked. Silence. Cars passed on the street behind us. A dog barked somewhere down the block. Life went on like it always does, even when something's breaking right in front of you. I didn't want to make it worse, he said finally. I let out a slow breath. It was already worse. He rubbed his face, frustrated now. So that's it? You just cut me off? After everything? After everything, I repeated. His head snapped up. You think you're the only one who's done anything? You helped, yeah, but you always held it over me. I shook my head. No, Brian. I kept it quiet. You just stopped noticing. That hit him sideways. He didn't have an answer ready for that one. Instead, he changed direction. Fine, he said. Fine, keep the house. Do whatever you want with your money, but don't expect to be part of our lives after this. There it was. The line. Not said in anger, said like a deal. I studied him for a long moment. This man who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during long drives, who used to call me from college just to ask how to fix a leaky faucet, who used to need me. And I realized something simple. He still did, just not the way a son should. You already made that choice, I said. His eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means you decided what I was worth a long time ago, I said. Last night just confirmed it. He opened his mouth, closed it, then shook his head like he was done trying. Unbelievable, he muttered. You're really throwing your own family away. I didn't respond right away, because the truth was, that part had already happened. Just not by me. I didn't throw anything away, I said finally. I just stopped letting it be taken. He stared at me a second longer, then turned and walked back to his truck. No hug, no apology, no looking back. The engine started. Gravel shifted under his tires, and just like that, he was gone. I stood there in the quiet that followed, listening to the sound fade down the street, and for the first time since the wedding, I didn't feel anything pulling me after him. I turned, walked up the steps, and unlocked my front door. Inside, the house felt the same. Still, honest. Mine. I closed the door behind me, and that's when the phone rang. Not Brian, not Melissa, a different number. I stared at it for a second, then answered. And what I heard on the other end, that's when everything took one last turn I hadn't planned for. The voice on the other end was calm, professional. Mr. Hayes, this is Daniel Mercer with Franklin Title Services. I'm calling regarding a property inquiry submitted this morning. I frowned. I didn't submit anything. There was a pause, papers shifting on his end. Well, that's strange. We received a request tied to your address. Full evaluation, expedited processing. It was marked urgent. My grip on the phone tightened just a little. Who submitted it? I asked. Another pause. It's listed under Melissa Carter Hayes. I closed my eyes for a second. Of course it was. She doesn't own that property, I said flatly. Yes, sir, that's why I'm calling. There was also a preliminary intent to list and a conditional agreement drafted with a third-party buyer. That landed heavier than anything else that day. They already had a buyer? I said quietly. Yes, sir. It appears negotiations were in early stages. Nothing finalized, but far enough along that we flagged it when the ownership details didn't match. I let out a slow breath. Cancel it, I said. All of it. It's already been halted pending verification, he replied. But I'll make a note that no further action is authorized. Good. I hung up and stood there in the middle of my living room. The same room where Brian used to open Christmas presents. The same room where Joanne took her last breath. And I understood it fully. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't pressure. It wasn't even entitlement anymore. It was a plan, a quiet one, built behind my back, counting on me to fold like I always had. I walked over to the window and looked out at the maple tree in the yard. The leaves were just starting to turn, same as they did every year. Steady, honest, not pretending to be anything they weren't. My phone buzzed again. A message this time. Brian. I stared at the screen for a long moment before opening it. We need to fix this. Call me. No apology, no explanation, just fix this, like I was the problem, like I always had been. I set the phone down on the table and didn't pick it back up. Outside, a car drove past slow, tires crunching on the road, then fading into the distance. The house settled around me, quiet as ever, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't wonder what he was going to say next. I didn't wonder if he'd come back. I didn't wonder if things could go back to how they were. I just stood there, in the silence he left behind, and let it stay that way. If this story meant something to you, subscribe. There's more to come.